Ever paused the video and squinted like, wait, what amp sim is that? Yeah, me too. So I went full detective mode and uncovered some amp sim gems the internet is weirdly quiet about. And to help you dial in tones fast with these amp sims without second guessing every knob, I put together the Wall of Sound cheat sheet. It's packed with simple tricks and tone moves to turn any amp sim into something that sounds real pro real quick. So this first plugin I almost skipped entirely, but the second I fired up one of the Bogren Digital amp knob plugins, I had to eat my words. Bogren Digital is the brainchild of Jens Bogren, one of the biggest names in modern metal productions. And these plugins are about getting Jens record-ready tones the moment it's loaded. And each amp knob plugin itself has some super handy extras. A built-in metronome, one-click recording within the plugin, no need for a DAW, which auto-saves your takes. But here's the part of these plugins that personally really sold me. Bogren's IRDX core. It's their custom cabinet technology that actually makes the cabs react like they're real cabinets. Now what's really cool is that they pulled this technology out of the plugins and you can use it as a separate plugin, which is their IRDX core, which means you can drop it after any amp sim and get that same cabinet response. So this other one that I found, I was immediately ready to hate on as well. I thought it was gonna be one of those bloated kitchen sink do everything suites that just drowns you in features that you don't even end up using or needing in a guitar amp suite. But a few minutes in and it didn't feel overwhelming and it felt fun. AudioSalt's Amp Locker gives you a full playground of tones, but somehow keeps things really simple. You get over 70 amps that get you anywhere from like a nice plexi tone all the way to like a 5150 with some bite in there. There are 46 pedals that you can use either before or after the amp, and this plugin is ridiculously affordable. If you've ever wanted total tone freedom without breaking your wallet, this is definitely a suite worth checking out. Okay, so this next one, honestly, at first glance, I thought it was a joke. Like I opened it up and I thought, what in the early 2000s video game UI is this thing? United Plugins Electrum is weird looking, but also weirdly fun, ingenious, and clever. You get 5 amps that take you from smooth to just savage, but what makes Electrum really stand out are the tools built around the amps. There's a smart input analyzer that listens to your riff and dials in the levels for you instantly. The EQ matcher lets you drop in a reference tone and then it'll help you reshape your tones to get closer to that reference tone. And the stereo doubler is a natural wide stereo image that sounds like you actually double track the guitar without double tracking the guitar. This thing is pretty cool for layering in tones and creating weird distorted sounds that really layer in with the main guitar tones. Now, just when I thought I was done being surprised, then this next one completely flew under my radar too. You've probably heard of Impact Soundworks. They make those insane shredded guitar libraries that producers love for producing metal guitar tones and just guitars in general. But what I didn't know is that the amp used inside those libraries is available as a standalone plugin, and it actually rips. The Shreddage Amp XTC gives you a faithful recreation of, can you guess? The Bogner Ecstasy, one of the most iconic amps ever made. And they actually surprisingly nailed the feel with smooth mids, rich gain, and killer note definition, which is what the Bogner Ecstasy is known for. And what I appreciate about it is that you get a straightforward interface that's clean and focused, gain, EQ, and present controls, a power amp section with selectable response curves, 13 cabinets, and 7 pedals. But a really cool feature, and I think this plugin's secret weapon, is the ultra quality mode with real-time and offline oversampling. You can track out a low CPU usage and still bounce and get full resolution. So yeah, it isn't the flashiest amp sim, but if you want a tight, mix-ready, high-gain amp, Shreddage Amp XCC is a hidden gem that's worth trying out. Okay, so this next one hit me personally. Back when I was working out of studios in LA, one of the studios I worked out of, we had a wall of boutique amps. But there was one I kept coming back to all the time because it was just so much fun to play. And it was the Orange Gym Root Terrorhead. It's small, it's loud, it's crunchy, it's just disgusting. It's just pure fun to play. And for years I've been on a voyage trying to find a plugin that can emulate this fun amp. And I've had no luck, until now. The Neuron Tube Tangy from Audio Singularity isn't just a capture. What they did, which I really appreciate having had real experience with this amp, is they actually modeled the circuits so every knob reacts just like the real amp. It comes with 2 Orange amp recreations, 4 built-in pedals, and a smart cab section that reacts naturally to mic and cab changes. I was so excited about finding this amp sim that I asked the developers what they were most proud of. And they say what they were most proud of is you can go from beautiful tremolo cleans to Nirvana's School or Black Flag's Dangerous. It's just beautiful to aggressive rock. This one was just a pure case of nostalgia that took me back to playing that amp in LA, and it also brought back memories of 2 amps that I also used a lot when I was back in LA. One of them being the infamous Marshall JCM 800 and another using various versions of Marshall Plexi. So when I saw Mercurio drop the new amp for their amp box suite, the 1987 XSG, I was pretty hyped. Because this one runs on their latest neural hybrid engine. It's the same tech that powers the 6163, the Tweed Blues, and the Tweed Bass models. So Softtube isn't the first name that comes to mind when you think of amp sims, but their new Amp Room Ingalls Savage suite is an absolute beast. You get 2 fully licensed models of the Ingalls Savage Mark II. You get 4 channels, your clean, your crunch 2 in the lead. And then there's a cab section which gives you 5 real Ingalls cabinets. And there's a cool custom boost pedal as well. But what really elevates Amp Room is, as a longtime fan of Softtube Studio plugins, Softtube has designed the Amp Room suite to work as a modular guitar tone shaping studio. If you have some of the Softtube studio grade plugins like a Trident EQ or an American Class A compressor, or even a tape emulation plugin, you can drop them right into the signal chain like it's a virtual high-end studio built for your amp. So over a year ago when I covered Polychrome DSP's McRocklin suite, I didn't think they can outdo themselves. And then they dropped Hyperray Kiesel, which took everything from what they learned in McRocklin suite and took it up a notch. Kiesel gives you 3 digital amps, Maple, Carbon, and Infusion, 5 mix-ready cabs, 4 pedals, 4 EQs, reverb, and a stereo delay, and a cool ducking delay that pulls back while you're playing. But the real MVP within this suite is Hypertune. Hypertune is a real-time pitch shifter that feels invisible. It sounds natural no matter what it's pitch shifting, and it even works on bass. But then after having loads of fun with that amp sim, they decided to release 2 other amp sims. Now Nunchuck gives you 4 unique amps, clean, hot rod, modern, and vintage, boost, jump, tight, and cut switches, 9 pedals, 2 EQs, a spring plate reverb, and the ducking delay, a spread control for stereo widening after the effects, and Hypertune is there as well. But this time the team introduced Xplode. It's a pitch dive tool that's extremely friendly with leads, but polyphonic chords also. You can control rise and fall, trigger momentary dives, and you can even map it to a MIDI pedal so you can go full whammy. And then there's Nutcracker. It's a brutal amp that's tuned for modern metal, dropped tune chugs, and saturation heavy tones. A cool feature they've introduced with Nutcracker is speaker voice editing. You can reshape the cab's tone instantly with no having to dig through IRs. Supercut is a lo-fi filter switch, which is perfect for breakdowns and intros. Another cool feature I don't think I've ever seen in any other amp sim is what they call tube age. It simulates old dying tubes and gives you more crazy harmonic texture. So when I found Electrum, I thought it was the quirky, weird genius of the group with all its features. And then I rediscovered one old amp sim that everyone seems to have forgotten, but it is a mad scientist of guitar tones. Now, at first glance, like most of Blue Cat Audio's plugins, the interface looks like a straight-up science experiment. But once you start clicking around, this thing is a really fun tonal laboratory. You can run 2 completely different amps in parallel, blend them, pan them, stack them, do whatever you want. The amp engine is powered by Blue Cat Audio's Destructor plugin, which lets you dive deep into how the distortion will behave. You get 100 built-in effects, full MIDI control, and the ability to drop in third-party VSTs, audio unit, or VST3 plugins. But if that's too far in the deep end and you want something a little bit more aggressive but streamlined, there's 2 new amp sims that come from newcomer Quantum DSP. Invader, which is great for rock tones, and then Carnage, which is straight-up metal mayhem. With both plugins, you get 5 quick presets, a built-in gate, EQ, reverb, and you can load in your own IRs. Now, the heart of the Quantum DSP line is their Q-tone control. It lets you shape how aggressive your tone is. Now, like Impact Soundworks, Solomon Tones is another company known for their virtual instruments like Loki and Odin. And the developer behind Solomon Tones doesn't mess around when it comes to heavy tones. So the team decided to jump into the amp sim world with Runeforge Fenrir. And it's got something seriously special baked in. They modeled one of my all-time favorite overdrive pedals, the Pepper Pedals Dirty Tree. It's baked right into the core of the tone. It's got that tight, punchy low end, modern voicing, and tons of bite. Perfect for 7 and 8 string drop-tuned guitars. The next company completely blindsided me. But one plugin in particular has become one of my go-to amp sims for heavy tones. Every time I load it up, I get stuck in Riffland. And what shocked me about the collection of amp sims from this company is that one of them actually sounds close to what my old rig used to sound like. I used the Mesa Triple Rectifier for over a decade. And if you've ever played that amp in real life, you know there's just something about the mids and the sag and the bounciness of the distortion that how it breaks up. I've tried every Mesa Boogie amp sim on the market, and some get close, but none of them make me feel like how it felt to play that amp in real life. Until I found Wavemind's Tone Suite Rev F. It gives you the typical clean, crunch, and high gain, vintage and modern voicing. But what's really cool is you can bypass the effects loop for extra harmonic push, and you also get pedals, delay, a chorus, and a musical compressor. and the Rev F sag and punch just feels like a Mesa to me. But Wavemind's crown jewel is widely versatile, but still heavy as hell. Tone Sweet Distant gives you 3 custom amp models. Flesh Weaver is built for absurdly low tunes, with an overkill switch for instant saturation overload. Servant is more of your metalcore amp with a lot of clarity and mid-range punch. And Nail Wound is surprisingly clean and capable for great leads, ambient textures, and post-metal tones. You get 3 pedals, you get a drop control for real-time pitch shifting, 3 mix-ready cabs with 9 mic choices, a 7-band EQ with a sauce button that just makes your tones sit better, post-effect reverb and delay pedals, and the same comp and smooth controls. And I have to mention this, most AmpSim gates are trash. They choke your transients, suck your guitar tone, and leave you fighting the plugin. So I've always relied on my TC Electronic Century gate. It's the cleanest, most transparent gate I've ever used. But with Wavemind, I didn't feel like I needed it. When I reached out to Wavemind, I told them that the gate in the plugins actually didn't sound like a traditional gate. And I asked if it was another similar tool that I use myself when creating amp tones in the box, and the response I got back confirmed my suspicion. And that explains why it works. It's subtle, it doesn't clamp down on your tone, it just keeps things tight without killing the vibe. If you're into low tunings, modern metal, or just want inspiring tones without an IR rabbit hole, Wavemind deserves a serious look. Their plugins may be flying under the radar right now, but trust me, it's not going to be for long. And if you're ready to take these tones further without getting lost in menus or second guessing your tones, I put together the Wall of Sound cheat sheet. It's packed with the exact tone moves to make any amp sim feel more alive, more mixable, and way more you. And these amp sims are just a tiny drop in the ocean of plugins revolutionizing the way engineers and guitarists can craft their perfect tone. That's why you need to check out this video right here, where I reveal the must-know amp sims that could completely change the way you shape your sound forever.